talk to my doctor when it's good, but I also got to be able to talk to my doctor when it's bad, right? We don't only want y'all talking to us when something bad is happening, right? Let us know when good things are happening. Let us know when nothing is happening so we can know what nothing looks like for you. So we can know what nothing feels like for you, right? We need to know like how the ups and downs are going, especially when we're talking about kind of managing symptoms and more importantly, making sure you don't ignore when something's not a symptom is a problem. All right, welcome to another episode of Medicine Mondays. You're truly Dr. Barry, and today we're going to talk about why symptoms are always a bad way to measure how healthy you are. I talk about this all the time. Do you know that half of the heart attack victims don't have any symptoms before they get the heart attack? Right? Do you know how many people are walking around this country right now with high blood sugar, uncontrolled blood sugar, and have no clue that they have uncontrolled blood sugar? Right? It's because their body, right, may not necessarily be telling them what's going on inside is a problem. And in this series, when we talk about, what medicine is getting wrong with patients, a lot of times we have convinced you guys that you have to have some symptom first. And when you have the symptom, you have the problem. So what that means is if I don't have a symptom, guess what? I don't have a problem. And that is far from the case. That is like, no, that's not it. Okay. So understanding the importance of when we're dealing with, your patients and when you're taking, especially as the patient and you're taking care of your own health, you have to divorce yourself from the fact, right? It's not even a fact, right? But you have to divorce yourself from the thought that because I am symptomatic, I have a problem. And if I'm not symptomatic, I don't have a problem. Because you can have symptoms and have a problem. But you could also not have symptoms and have a problem. And that's where a lot of us get in trouble. And today we're going to talk about like why that's the case and what we need to do as healthcare providers, healthcare advocates, what we need to do as patients to make sure that we are not continuing to fall over ourselves with this fallacy that because I feel fine, and men, I'm talking to you, because I feel fine, everything is okay. Because everything is not okay. That is usually not the case of the matter where everything is okay. So of course, where everything is okay. So of course, like I should be getting to go, right? So let's talk today about this importance of dealing with like the lack of symptoms and whether that means you actually have an issue at hand. Okay, so trust me, I understand. I understand the easy route. Something hurts me, something's not making me feel good. Let me go see the doctor. Let me take care of it. I understand. That's easy. That makes all the sense in the world when we're trying to figure out like, all right, what do I need to do? The issue at hand occurs when that's not the case, right? The issue at hand occurs when like, hey, I'm just walking through life. A lot of the men, especially when I was doing outpatient medicine, a lot of the men was just walking around life, working, taking care of family, taking care of themselves, going to work, going to sleep, going to work, going to sleep, right? Not seeing a doctor for years, right? And they would actually say, I have no medical problems. Never diagnosed themselves, never got a lab result, never stuck their arm in at the pharmacy to check their blood pressure. I got no medical problems because guess what? I never actually went to go see a doctor because I felt fine. And quite often or not, I ask them like, all right, if you feel fine, what's your cholesterol level? Because there is no symptom, right, that says my cholesterol level is high. What typically happens is the result when your cholesterol is high, aka you end up in the hospital because you had a stroke or a heart attack. But there's usually no symptoms that lead you up to the fact that your cholesterol is out of whack. So we have a lot of patients who, yes, they do the good job when there's a problem, but because they only do the job, like, and this is where when I always stress the importance of just going for regular visits, even when you don't have a problem, like your regular annual visits, even when you don't have a problem, is because it divorces you from that mindset that the only reason why I should be going to see my doctor is when I have the problem. I make it a point around my birthday, I go to see the doctor, I get my annual physical done, I'm out of there. All right, I make that a point. That's the thing I do. It don't matter how I'm feeling. I'm going to see the doctor. It's my birthday. It's annual visit day. Like that's how I train myself, because again, I'm on the other side. I've taken care of way too many patients who went through multiple birthdays. And I'm not talking one or two. I'm talking 5, 6, 7 birthdays without going to see somebody. And then when they do come to see us, they're upset at us because we do our due diligence. We start doing our blood work. We start doing some scanning. And then all of a sudden you got 10 different medical problems when you walked in thinking that you were totally fine. So understand the importance that when we stress, like not leaning in on your symptoms being the barometer of your health, is because at any moment, our body does a great job. Let me tell y'all, let me just break it down for y'all a little bit. Our body does a great job dealing with stuff till it can't deal with it. We can have high blood pressure for years, and our body's like, hey, you know what? I'm strong. I can deal with this. I'm going to deal with the high blood pressure. I'm not going to tell you I'm dealing with high blood pressure, but I'm going to deal with it, right? So I may adjust how hard the heart has to work. I may put some more pressure on the kidneys, right, to work. But guess what? I may even put more pressure on the lungs, right, to deal with the blood pressure. But guess what? I'm going to hold on and handle it until your body gets to the point where it can't handle it no more. And you know what your body does? It says, hey, I can't handle this no more. I'm going to give you some kidney damage, right? Like, because I've been overworking the kidneys for years because you've been ignoring us for 5, 7 birthdays. I've been putting the kidneys to work. They've been doing double overtime. They ain't getting paid for it. And guess what? Now you're having trouble urinating, right? Now you're having trouble with your kidney function. Hey, you know what? The lungs have gotten so bad, right? Because they've been dealing with the stress of pulmonary hypertension, right? Blood pressure within the pulmonary system. And now you're having trouble breathing, right? Like, and hey, I'm sorry I couldn't give you a warning sign, but I tried to do it myself because I just assumed by your first or second birthday, you would have already went and gotten me checked out. But you didn't get me checked out. So guess what? Boom, I have a heart attack. I couldn't deal with it anymore. Like, it's done. Like, it's on you now. You take care of it. You take care of me. That's what your body does. Your body does a great job dealing with the issues until it can't. When we have a fever, your body was fighting before the fever. It just finally says, hey, you know what? All right, I have to turn on the fever switch to try to kill this infection. Because all of the other things I've done to kill this infection, it ain't working. Let me turn the fever switch on. And then boom, oh my God, I got a fever. I'm feeling cold. I'm not feeling good. Now you go see someone, right? So your body is fighting, and sometimes your body has a lot of time to deal with it, which actually causes more problem in the end, or sometimes it has a short period of time to deal with it, right? So understanding that your body does, take the brunt until it can't no more. But unfortunately, when it can't no more, boom, that's the trouble, right? So that's why we have to be what we call preemptive, right, with our care, right? They talk about preventative medicine all the time. They realize the preventative medicine is because they're trying to preempt any issues happening down the line, because it's cheaper. It's cheaper to take care of the issues now in the early stages. There's more options to take care of stuff in the early stages than for me to wait 4 or 5 years until you end up in a hospital because you got the stroke or heart attack. Like that's always a result, right? So again, there's so many ways when we talk about understanding, right? And these are some insights I wanted to get you, right? And I already talked about number 1, right? Which, if you're following this channel, if you're part of the Lunch and Learn community, you understand getting regular screenings is number 1 priority for me. You got to get regular screenings. You got to get those regular checkups. Whether you have whether you're taking medication or not, you got to get regular checkups. You got to know what's going on with your body. More importantly, you have to almost screen yourself. You have to know when your body is normal. You have to know, like, hey, you know what? My normal, bowel habits are, every 3 or 4 days. Now it's happening every 7, 10 days. What happened? You have to know what your normal is. Understanding that, and I like this aspect of your silent numbers. This is a good one, right? Understanding your silent numbers. A lot of you don't have like a blood pressure cuff at home, but if you do, right, like, take your blood pressure. Or if you go to these stores, which most of you will, you go to a store that has a blood pressure cuff in, don't just look at the machine, put your arm in there. Just like, oh, you know what? I haven't checked my blood pressure in a while. Just do something. Understand that it's important, right? Because those are some of the numbers that creep up on you. Blood sugar is another one that creep up on you. Blood sugar is an important caveat because a lot of times your family history will be a big tell. So if your mom got diabetes, your grandma got diabetes, you better make sure you don't got diabetes, right? Because diabetes is such a genetic association that you can't just feel like, all right, mom got diabetes, pops got diabetes, little sister got diabetes, but I'm okay. Like that doesn't make any sense in the world. That doesn't make any sense in the world, right? So understanding that. Listen beyond pain, right? Because again, a lot of times pain is a pretty typical symptom that brings us to go and seek some help. But understand, right? You may have, energy. You may have a change in sleep, change in focus. Something may occur that seems slight that you got to be aware of, right? And that's why I said, like, a lot of times getting your regular screenings, but obviously almost doing your self-maintenance and knowing what's a norm for you. Because once you know what's a norm for you, then you know how to walk around. Like, hold on, you know what? I ain't feeling right. This ain't the same. This is when we talk about patient advocacy. This is how I normally kind of operate. Like, let me make sure I'm doing the stuff I need to normally do. And again, obviously, if you're doing your regular screenings, you also aren't ignoring preventative care. That's when vaccines, even though I know right now, we have the Health and Human Services guy who has been gutting vaccine recommendations left and right, which I know for a fact is going to cause a lot of harm in the future. And unfortunately, a lot of these people will not be with us on this earth when a lot of the problems arise. They will not be with us on this earth, right? Y'all can read between the lines when the problem arises. So understand, that's an issue at hand. And I think the last thing is just building a good relationship with your doctor. If you build a good relationship with your doctor, then you understand the importance that, you know what, I got to be able to, talk to my doctor when it's good, but I also got to be able to talk to my doctor when it's bad, right? We don't only want y'all talking to us when something bad is happening, right? Let us know when good things are happening. Let us know when nothing is happening so we can know what nothing looks like for you. So we can know what nothing feels like for you, right? We need to know like how the ups and downs are going, especially when we're talking about kind of managing symptoms and more importantly, making sure you don't ignore when something's not a symptom is a problem. All right, so before we get up out of here again, I just want to kind of recap this message, right? This message that I think medicine has gotten wrong for the patient. Having a symptom, yes, could be an issue, but having no symptom can also be an issue. Doesn't mean because you are asymptomatic, is what we call it. Because you have no symptoms doesn't mean you have no problems. We have to, that's where we the doctors have to do our risk benefit analysis to kind of recognize, hey, like, is this no symptom an issue or is this no symptom I need to worry about? But you as the patient, your number one, because we're all the patient's advocate, but guess who's the number one advocate for themselves? Numero uno, right? You have to be your number one advocate when it comes to patient advocacy and your health, right? You have to be the number one advocate. So recognizing when a problem could arise is important, right? Recognizing, hey, I'm not feeling good is important, but also recognizing the absence of symptoms does not mean that everything is good. That does not mean I can skip my regular visits. I can skip my screenings. I can skip my cancer preventative measures, your vaccines. It doesn't mean I can skip those things, right? And I guess because this is, again, going back to preventative measures, the amount of people, right, who like when they're trying to argue that, oh, we take too much vaccines. Oh, I don't see this disease no more. No one's getting this disease. Why do you think you don't see the disease no more? Why do you think you don't see the disease no more? Like, we have measles that was essentially eradicated in this country that is back. Why? Because people have thought, you know what? I don't see measles anymore. Why do I got to keep taking a measles vaccine? Fast forward, now we have measles outbreaks. Now we have children dying from measles. Again, a disease we essentially eradicated in this country because people said, I don't see measles anymore. So clearly I don't need the vaccine, because they did not put two and two together that the reason why I don't see measles anymore is because I'm vaccinated. And because a lot of people are vaccinated, that's why measles are around, right? So understand that the lack of symptoms does not mean everything is hunky-dory. Right? That's why you just have to, you got to go through your P's, right? You got to understand your regular visits. You got to understand your body. You got to understand how you feel. And you got to understand that the avoidance of seeing someone like me in regular visits, right? Your outpatient visits, the avoidance of seeing someone like me is not going to ignore the fact that a heart attack is on the way if you keep playing. That a foot amputation is on the way if you keep playing. That glasses is on the way. That blindness is on the way. It's not going to, a stroke is on the way. It's not going to, these things are still going to occur if you act like they're not there. So you can act like your blood pressure isn't a problem. It's called the silent killer for a reason. And I can assure you, we're doing such a good job in medicine now that we'll make sure that you live around with after that stroke. You may not be able to move the left side of your body. We'll make sure you live. And then you have to remember and think about the fact that, man, I really ignored my blood pressure being high because I didn't feel a thing. I felt symptom. I felt fine. I really ignored going to see the doctor because I felt fine. And now I'm on dialysis. I really ignored this and now I got a heart attack. Like, y'all gonna stop ignoring issues because y'all don't feel it. No, you got to be ahead of the game, right? And again, that's why, again, I want you to divorce yourself from that reality of, oh, I don't feel any symptoms, so everything's okay. Divorce yourself from that. It's not the case, right? So again, I'm yours truly, Dr. Barry Pierre. Thank you for watching another episode of Medicine Mondays, and I can't wait to see you guys next week.